President Trump is threatening to scrap the Iran nuclear deal. On Friday, Mr. Trump accused Tehran of violating both the letter and spirit of the deal. The president laid out what he calls a new strategy. He placed the future of the deal in the hands of Congress, demanding new sanctions. White House and senior foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan has more.
We will not continue down a path whose predictable conclusion is more violence, more terror, and the very real threat of Iran's nuclear breakout.
President Trump accused Iran of violating the spirit of the nuclear deal, but he stopped short of withdrawing from the agreement. Instead, he asked Congress to set new terms that satisfy his concerns and gave it power to reimpose sanctions on Tehran if it does not comply. Depending on the result, Mr. Trump said he may still tear up the deal.
Well, I may do that. The deal is terrible.
In addition to the U.S. and Iran, 5 other countries signed the 2015 agreement. Today, they all oppose the president's announcement. Russia accused President Trump of aggressive and threatening rhetoric, while France, Germany, and the UK jointly stated that they have repeatedly confirmed Iran's compliance with the deal and said it is in our shared national security interest not to damage it.
Well, my view on the nuclear deal is they are in technical compliance of the nuclear arrangement.
The president's decision is also at odds with his own national security team. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Joseph Dunford designed the new strategy as a compromise to keep Mr. Trump from scrapping the agreement completely.
I do believe the agreement to date has delayed the development of a nuclear capability by Iran.
In a statement, former Secretary of State John Kerry, who negotiated the Iran deal, blasted the president as lacking maturity and strategic thinking. Manufacturing an international crisis, he said, is a reckless abandonment of facts in favor of ego and ideology. Stephanie?
Wow. Margaret, with other signatories to the Iran deal criticizing this announcement, and the president needing 60 votes from a divided Senate to enact any new legislation to punish Iran, what does Mr. Trump really hope to achieve?
Well, this is why the former Secretary of State called this a high-stakes game of chicken that the president is playing here, because in many ways it is. He is giving himself flexibility, as they like to say in the Trump White House, to see what they can get from Congress and whether there is any way for everyone to come to an agreement, preserve the existing nuclear deal and get a new one. That is a tremendous ask, not only of a divided Congress that the president up to this point has not been able to get to bend to his will, even within his own party, but it's also a big gamble that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson can kind of pull off this diplomacy. As you said, many of the signatories, all of the signatories to the existing nuclear deal have flatly refused to renegotiate and said that this is something they will stick to the terms of, and America may be isolating itself.
You mentioned in your piece that there is even some dissension among the ranks of the administration. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Well, this decision was really a compromise strategy. The president's top national security advisors, Secretaries Tillerson, Mattis, this is from Defense and State, the Joint Chiefs Chairman, Joe Dunford, all have publicly said that they thought this Iran deal was worth keeping. That is why the president didn't tear it up like he promised to do when he was campaigning. What they have persuaded him to do is what the president calls a two-step process. That is, see what Congress comes back with, and then see if they can get something else from the rest of the world in terms of agreeing to put more pressure on Iran. This is really, in many ways, reversing what the president said his intent was. He said he wanted to really confront Iran, not just on the nuclear portfolio, but instead he's turning the spotlight right on this showdown in Capitol Hill. He is making this a fight in Congress and with our allies rather than with the country he says our adversary is, which is Iran.
Why is the president so convinced of the deal's ineffectiveness, even with nuclear inspectors and his own intelligence services indicating that Iran has remained in compliance with the deal thus far?
This appears to be for the president about delivering on the things he campaigned on, which was to disavow this nuclear deal. However, when presented with facts, he has been persuaded twice so far to continue to certify Iran's compliance. That's what he changed today. It is not clear at this point how much of this is public posturing on the part of a president who likes to do that, to go to the extreme and work his way back from there. That is what he has done in the business world. Of course, the stakes here, this isn't about money. This is about nuclear weapons and about international agreement with allies and adversaries that have agreed to this landmark arms control agreement. So it is not clear here how much is posturing and how much the president just doesn't want to put his name on something and admit to exactly what you just laid out there, which is that even U.S. intelligence says this deal is working. I will say, however, the things that he has pointed out that many of the critics of the deal continue to point out in terms of loopholes, so to speak, that Iran might be able to exploit in some way. Even those who authored this, John Kerry and President Obama, said this wasn't perfect, but that's what diplomacy is. It's a compromise. And if Iran ever does break out or ever tries to develop a nuclear weapon, they have ways to stop it.
I remember the line being out of the Obama White House, don't trust, but verify. Margaret Brennan, thank you so much.